Hey everybody, Todd here. Today we are going to show some grooves that incorporate all different techniques, focusing on our incorporation of the Jojo Mayer technique into other grooves and the usefulness of putting those all together. This has been a tough one for me, and I want to make sure everybody hears that, because I think, as I said in my other videos, I think it's really important that other people hear that, like, these things take time and they're tough, and to not get discouraged. For me to move from the motion of the Jojo Mayer technique into my mostly heel up technique, that's tough. That's a tricky thing, because your mind gets so locked in practicing the Jojo Mayer thing that then when you want to move it into something else, you kind of catch yourself almost like you forget how to play. So don't be discouraged by that. It just takes some time to break through that wall. Today what I'm going to show you is just some of the grooves that I like, that I found that are really fun to play. They're useful grooves, and hopefully it adds, if you've been checking out the Jojo Mayer bass drum technique videos, the part 1 and part 2 that I have out there. Once you get this technique down and rolling, then it gives you that next place to take it and shows you that it's a really useful thing. And really what I probably have more been ending up with is kind of a conglomeration of everything, both heel down, heel up, heel toe technique, and Jojo Mayer technique, a little bit of John Blackwell stuff. And that's my goal, is to have freedom with my foot and to make it very useful. As always, I do not edit these videos. I want you to see my screw-ups. I'm sure there's going to be some, because I want you to see that, this stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's hard stuff. You screw up all the time, and that's the only way to get there. So let me move the camera. And I'm going to place the camera down here so that you can see the bass drum. Hopefully that's nice where it should be. And I'm going to demonstrate some of this stuff. I'm not going to go over the Jojo Mayer bass drum technique in this video. I've explained that well in my other videos. All you have to do is check those out. So the channel is Teaching Beats, and look for Jojo Mayer bass drum technique part 1 and 2. The first groove is a triplet groove, using triplets both on the beat and off the beat. So let me give you an example of that, and we'll go from there. At a medium tempo. So that's a very useful technique. The triplet thing is really, kind of one of those really fun things to get down with this technique. And then after one of the ways to incorporate this into your playing and practice is after you play the grooves at slower speeds. Kind of the grooves are a nice way to keep yourself slow and focused. Then take a little bit of time and you can work on just that triplet by itself. So just So you get the idea. Again, using both practice and learning a technique together, practice of a groove and learning a technique together works really well. All right, so let's demonstrate the triplet technique groove, the on the beat, off the beat triplet technique, in just a little faster tempo. So I just wanted to demonstrate that can be used in medium and maybe upper medium tempos, and it works really good. All right, so then the next thing, and this is what I was kind of talking about at the beginning of the video. One of the hardest things for me was, and I did a little bit of it in demonstrating those two grooves, was incorporating singles, doubles, and whatever you want to do in between using the Jojo Mayer technique. To me, that was very difficult because my brain just didn't want to let go of the Jojo Mayer technique, and it was, like I said, it was almost sometimes, it was really frustrating because it felt like I didn't know what I was doing playing-wise. So I want to demonstrate just how you can start to add some other beats into that, and just maybe, you know, sometimes for me, when I get to watch other people do it, it sort of changes something in my brain, and I accept it a little easier. So hopefully something like this will work for you so that you can take it and move it into your own you know, use of whatever technique you use. So we'll just start out at a slow tempo with that. Just a nice groove, again kind of incorporating those triplets and maybe adding longer runs of 16th notes. Alright, so again, that's putting some singles, doubles. The other thing that I found that I started to do, which is kind of a weird thing, but sometimes I think because of the learning the Jojo Mayer technique, my foot just goes there, is I'll start doing single beats with just my heel. So sometimes it'll be like a, and it's not really heel-toe, it's heel and then toe. So, like I said, be open to things. You might find yourself doing some weird things, but all in all, I think that's really good because what it tells you is you're able to use your foot in many different ways. All right, so now just a quick demonstration of a groove that incorporates. I was doing a little bit of it already, but just incorporates some longer runs of 16th notes. And again, some of this is just to wrap your brain around it and get your foot used to doing it. So again, a medium tempo at just a groove that incorporates longer groupings of 16th notes. So again, when you're practicing, start to stick in those 16th notes. That obviously leads us to the next step of just a straight 16th note groove. Now I've had some people who've mailed me on this that play speed metal, heavy metal, things like that, and they say that this is not applicable at all to heavy metal, speed metal, because the beats aren't consistent enough, and you get some variation, slight variation in sound. That is absolutely true. This is not a one technique suits all. This is just a technique to add to everything else that you do. If you're having to lay down some rock solid 16th, 32nd note grooves for 3 minutes, 4 minutes at a time, then absolutely use 2 bass drums and use a double pedal. So, you know, for what that's worth. So now just a straight ahead 16th note groove, and that's obviously just for some endurance. And, you know, you might find yourself sticking this in at different times. Medium tempo. So one of the things you'll find is there's a sweet spot in the pedal sometimes that really helps your tempo, and bringing your foot up high is usually not where it's at. Usually somewhere back here. And that's where, funny enough, John Blackwell seems to live on his pedal. So, and he really likes to bust out those, you know, longer, faster runs. So kind of right in the, maybe just a little bit below center line. It allows that throw to move back and forth really well. So, now, off of the 16th note groove, we can do we can incorporate that into both a practice technique and another cool groove, which is kind of a Steve Gadd, Stanton Moore march, or variations on those, where the bass drum accents our snare drum accents, and we fill in around it in a march style. Now, obviously, one of the good things about this is it gets our bass drum used to answering our hands and feeling where our hands are, and it's kind of independence exercise because it's really easy to screw up and it's really easy to get off tempo. So start it slow and work it up. So let me give you an example. So, as I said, I'm not going to edit this video. Sometimes, you know, things, they get a little sloppy, but I'm thinking hard about what I want to try and do here, and sometimes it gets in my way. One of the things you can do with this sort of practicing this is practice on your intensity and your dynamics. So just, I don't know if it comes across, but just like the ending little roll there I did, where I start quiet and build it up, and that's a really good thing to practice, and it works really good if you're doing kind of a groove like that where you're on the snare. So let me just demonstrate that one more time so it's clear. So just a slow build. And then practice bringing up your snare drum and bringing up your bass drum separately. So let's see if I can pull that off. So, lots of different things to do with that sort of groove. So now we've put together triplet groove where we add in some other stuff, adding in longer runs of sixteenths, practicing just straight sixteenths, and then building the accented march with your bass drum. So I'm going to move my camera here. Hopefully that gives you a really good place to start when you're moving from the practice mode to the application mode. I'm going to post several more of these. I've got a lot more grooves, but I think a 10-minute video is probably more than most people can take. And hopefully that gives you something to go on. If you have questions, please let me know. And again, don't get discouraged. This is hard stuff. Anybody who says it's not probably hasn't learned it. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.